Ich bin Schweizer, das hört man auch sicher nicht.
I'm Swiss, as you can probably guess from my accent. I have been living in Venezuela for more than 50 years. I'm a civil engineer, married, and have a 46-year-old son. I think these are the most important details. Oh yeah, I like sports.
Sportlich begeistert.
Venezuela went through many ups and downs, and I had my fair share of the downs, but I have overcome all of them. I was invincible. Then I received the diagnosis prostate cancer when I was just 57, and my life fell apart. I was so very young and had metastases in my entire body.
Metastasen überall in den Körper.
Suddenly I was very vulnerable. That was very tough, but I told myself I won't give up. At first I felt depressed, but luckily my wife supported me all the way in my fight. I didn't trust medical care in Venezuela, so I came to Switzerland and saw the best doctors there. Unfortunately, the prognosis was the same. Then I decided to see even more doctors and went to the MD Anderson in Houston and the Presbyterian Hospital in New York, always hoping to find a solution. I felt anxious and was afraid. All these highly qualified doctors basically told me not to make any big plans or long-term investments and prepare myself for the worst. It wasn't anything easy to cope with. The first step was conventional treatment with hormone ablation. This had shown some encouraging results. At this stage, I continued with my normal life, my sports. I tried to live as normal as possible, even though I always had the diagnosis in the back of my mind. Everybody said, you don't have much time left. But there was this one doctor in New York who gave me some hope. A friend wrote about this Dr. Atkins, the one who came up with the Atkins diet, who also treated cancer. Since I was already in New York, so I went to see him. He told me not to believe in the bad prognosis. We could do more, even at the advanced stage of my cancer, and especially because I had not received any chemotherapy. So I began treatment with him and my PSA went further down. But already after a few months, I became resistant to the treatment and Dr. Atkins recommended trying hypothermia treatment as a last resort. I looked up many hospitals and facilities in Switzerland and found the Escalab Hospital in Brunnen. Professor Pfeifer was a specialist at Escalab Hospital. He brought down my PSA again and I continued with his treatment for many years. Back then, I took Professor Pfeiffer's prescribed supplements and I received hypothermia treatments. I cannot remember really the details and what else was included. I felt good throughout the treatment and my PSA went down until it reached 0. And it stayed there for a long time.
Ward visit at the Escalab clinic. Silverio Petrini became ill 3 years ago with metastatic prostate cancer. Specialists worldwide recommended conventional hormone therapy, which showed only a short-term effect. It was the combined treatment approach here that halted his disease and stopped it progressing further. The good news in spring of this year, almost all bone metastases have vanished and the patient is now free of pain. All these black spots in the vertebral column, in the pelvis and in the skull show widespread secondary growth. These scans were done nearly 3 years later, and you can see that many of the black spots have disappeared. In other words, the bone metastases have been eliminated to a very great extent.
Ja, sicher nicht. Ich fühlte mich wieder gut und
Yes, it did. I finally felt good again and continued my life as it was before. I was back in business and did a lot of sport. I had my normal life back. When some of my friends came down with prostate cancer, I even decided to share my story with them and no longer hide.
Wurde nicht mehr versteckt. Ich finde den Ansatz von Professor Pfeifer sehr gut, dass der kombiniert.
I really like Professor Pfeiffer's approach because he combines conventional medicine with alternative methods. Also, he always made time for me, even when he was still living in the US. He calmed me down when he said we would overcome this for the next 10 years and beyond. My relationship with Professor Pfeifer has always been very pleasant, really going beyond the common doctor-patient relationship. Back then, I used to spend day and night researching new treatment options. Dr. Pfeifer usually was already familiar with those and gave me his opinion and advice. He is attentive and really caring. This, for me, makes him so different from many other physicians.